Would the senator yield for a question?
Chuck Schumer, it's the only time in my life I can tell you no.
I just want to tell you a question. Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
So that was the moment that Senator Cory Booker set the record for longest speech on the floor of the United States Senate in history. That's right, folks. We have all just witnessed history together with Senator Cory Booker surpassing the previous record set by Strom Thurmond, a segregationist who filibustered for 24 hours and 18 minutes on the Senate floor against the Civil Rights Act in 1957. You heard that right. Until this moment, the longest filibuster in our nation's history was to try to block the passage of the Civil Rights Act. My name is Brett Meiselas here with the MeidasTouch Network. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel now and add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So here's a list of the longest floor speeches in Senate history from before today. You could see Strom Thurmond there at the top. Then you'll notice Ted Cruz there. He filibustered for 21 hours and 19 minutes in 2013 in order to try to prevent the passage of the Affordable Care Act. Listen, people have been looking for fighters in the Democratic Party, and boy did Senator Booker deliver, highlighting the danger of the Trump-Musk regime and standing up for the American people. Let me show you some of the highlights from Senator Booker's speech, which began at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time Monday. Don't worry, I won't make you watch all 24 plus hours. Here, Senator Booker explained why he was doing this in the first place and said that he is trying to take a different approach in this moment to fight back.
That what the Republicans are trying to do is cut massively into health care for Americans in order to give tax cuts to the wealthiest, disproportionately to the wealthiest who don't need it, and to drive up the deficits, making our children and our children's children have a more dangerous economy and higher debt payments to make, debt payments that will skyrocket higher than any expense the government makes. We are literally about to see something go through reconciliation that threatens to sacrifice our children's future so the richest of the rich can get richer. And so I know there's a lot of people who are angry, who are worried, who are feeling overwhelmed, who are struggling to make ends meet, but I know of only one way to do this, and I'm trying to do it myself, is to do things differently, to stand up, to speak up, to not act like this is just normal in our country.
Here's a great moment where Senator Booker went off on Trump in the 17th hour in his filibuster about Trump's broken promises and autocratic actions.
He promised to lower your grocery prices, they're higher. He promised, I'll be a better steward of the economy. It's worse than we inherited. Over and over, he's breaking promises and doing outrageous things like disappearing people off of American streets, violating fundamental principles of this document, invoking the Alien Enemies Act from the 1700s that was last used to put Japanese Americans in internment camps. Do we see what's happening? How much is enough?
Here was a moment where Senator Booker admitted that he and the Democratic Party have not been doing enough to stop the rise of Trump. This was very powerful. Check this out.
Ni. Behold, Lord, here I am. And so I confess that I have been imperfect. I confess that I've been inadequate to the moment. I confess that the Democratic Party has made terrible mistakes, that have given lane to this demagogue. I confess we all must look in the mirror and say we will do better. And it's not just defining ourselves what we're against. We the next generation, as the baby boomers are leaving the stage, the last baby boomer president, we have to say that we're going to redeem the dream. We're going to dream America anew. We're going to start talking about bold things that don't divide people, that unite people. Bold things that excite the moral imagination of a country to do better, to go higher, that call us together. This is the time where new leaders in our country must emerge. I'm not talking about senators. I'm talking about citizens.
Oh, let me show you this. This was a video that Booker pre-recorded and his team released it after the 13th hour of his speech, where he promised the American people that he would stay on the Senate floor for as long as he was physically able. Watch this.
So I'm recording this to post while I'm on the Senate floor. I know there's lots of platforms you can watch it if you want, but I wanted to say here that I'm on that floor and I'm going to be speaking about what Donald Trump is doing to our nation. And now with this tariff, we are going to see more reckless steps taken that are going to raise more prices for Americans and cost our economy even more. So many things that I'll be detailing in this speech. And so it's my plan to continue to go for as long as I possibly can. We saved healthcare last time, not because somehow our persuasive abilities as senators got John McCain to change his mind. It was the voice of citizens. I think we have the power. No, I know we have the power. I believe the power of the people is greater than the people in power. So I hope to use my voice to do what people are calling on me to do. And I hope I can inspire or engage or activate more people like you can to use their voice, because I know we can stop what's happening in our country.
Promises made, promises kept. And so at one moment, Senator Booker slammed Donald Trump and his regime for trying to erase American history, saying that we don't want some sort of Disney whitewashed version of our history. Just tell us the facts. Watch this.
And now it's our generation. We have to redeem the dream. We have to excite people again. He, in the highest office of our land, wants to divide us against ourselves, wants to make us afraid, wants to make us fear so much that we're willing to violate people's fundamental rights. We're willing to go after the speech on college campuses. We're willing to go after law firms, go after the freedom of the press. Don't let him do that. Don't become like him. Be an American that says, I look to the future and I'm excited. Yes, things are tough right now. They're hard, they're scary, they're hurting, but we can overcome this. Our American history, if it's nothing else, American history, if it's nothing else, it is a perpetual testimony to the achievement of impossible things against impossible odds. We are a nation that is great, not because of the people that are trying to whitewash our history. To remove great people, Native Americans, black people, and women from our military websites. I don't want a Disneyfication of our history. I don't want to whitewash history. I don't want to homogenize history. Tell me the wretched truth about America, because that speaks to our greatness. And so what do I want people to do? It starts with us, man, and you're doing it. I've seen courage of my colleagues. We're doing it, but we have to do more, and I'm sorry. I'm not going to be a politician that's going to say, we are going to do more for you. I'm going to be a politician. I'm going to be a leader that demands more from America.
By the way, throughout the speech, Fox was having a complete and total meltdown, and they tried to diminish the senator and the speech. Listen to them in full-on panic mode here.
To anyone?
Nobody.
So he just wants national
Maybe
attention.
he has a few fans.
Well, there are a couple other senators who occasionally ask him questions, and he yields the floor. But by yielding for a question, then he still controls the floor. This is not a filibuster, by the way.
So here's what did you miss last night when you made that dumb decision to sleep?
I rise with the intention of disrupting the normal business of the United States Senate for as long as I am physically able. I rise tonight because I believe sincerely that our country is in crisis. We are not solving the deficit in what they're proposing here. They're cutting and cutting and cutting things that make no sense to cut, and they're doing it for tax breaks which disproportionately go to the wealthiest. Placing tariffs on our biggest trade partners is beyond unfair. This drives the cost of goods up, and the consumer is the one who ends up paying the increase. Even with universities got too woke and had too excesses, the antidote to that isn't to try to shut down the thought of the left. It's to try to make a fair, more competitive marketplace for ideas from all around the political spectrum.
How would you do that?
I mean, there are just several things that he said are just not true. He's still running on the tax cut for the rich. Not true. And most Americans understand that. And they believe that under the past administration, when Donald Trump had his first term, that they got a tax break. They know that to be true. He also talks about the university campuses. So you're going to side with the people that are blocking the Jews from going to class right now? That's not going to work with the American people. And just over and over the talking points. If you want to get the American people attention, you don't do it on the floor of the Senate. You go and you start talking with voters. I'm not sure he's going to
town hall, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to get much attention.
Well, you could hear there that Fox was trying to act like this wasn't going to get any attention. Well, Senator Booker's speech has now been viewed by millions and millions across social media, hundreds of millions of likes on Cory Booker's TikTok live stream alone. Americans are paying attention, whether the corporate media wants to admit it or not. Even Republican consultant and pollster Frank Luntz acknowledged the power of Booker's marathon speech, writing the following, quote, "I just hosted a focus group of Democratic voters who are angry with Dem leadership in D.C. What Cory Booker is doing right now on the Senate floor is exactly what they want to hear. Democrats would be smart to get a transcript and copy it word for word." By the way, I agree entirely. This is exactly what we need right now, and I hope it inspires others to find ways to fight back as well. Okay, back to the speech. Here, Cory Booker hits Trump for demeaning comments about the disabled, his constant lying, and more. Check this out.
We felt that we're living the American dream until one day in 2012. I know this personally with my dad. I feel for you, Ms. Spooner. Until one day in 2012, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's is a degenerate Parkinson's disease is a degenerative brain disease that progresses over time. Sorry, I'm thinking about my dad. It is unrelenting and affects motor and nerve processes. Loss of benefits will have a direct and daily effect on me and my family as we navigate the medical needs we will be facing. I will need progressive and comprehensive care as I age. I will need medication every single day of my life. And I will need the security of a generous society to care for me. Millions of others join me there. Please, Senator Booker, please protect my Social Security. I just thank God that my mom had the resources to take care of my dad. And I watched that degenerative disease take from his life for 20 years and how much it cost, the thousands of dollars it cost my mom to take care of him. I know my friend Andy Kim, who's in the Senate right now, is facing health challenges with his father. I know so many people personally whose parents have Alzheimer's. I know so many Americans who are not powerful, they're not rich. I know so many Americans who live in fear every day that one little thing will happen to them that will destabilize their financial well-being. And now those millions of Americans, because of a president and a man named Musk, are driving fear into them, are whacking away the people that answer phones, are firing the people in an agency that already was struggling with wait times, that already was struggling with slow response times. These people who are hanging on by a thread in their lives are facing the people they love the most, who are struggling with the diseases that so many of us in this body have been affected by. They are now worried. They're writing me letters with words like fear and terror. They're talking about staying up at night and not being able to sleep because they don't have a president that comforts them. They have a president that talks down to them, that lies about the services that they rely on. What is this? It is not normal. It is not normal. This is America. How can the most powerful people in our land not comfort others, not tell them they have nothing to fear but fear itself, not tell them to have malice towards none but have charity towards all? What kind of man is in our White House that makes fun of the disabled, who lies so much that the fact checkers lose count, that minimizes the pain and the suffering? where you have cabinet secretaries that are billionaires themselves that say, if my mom misses a Social Security check, but if somebody else complains about it, they're probably a fraudster. These people are not fraudsters. They're hurting. They're afraid. They're worried. For God's sake, this is America.
Here's Senator Booker slamming the Trump administration for essentially kidnapping a Maryland father named Abrego Garcia and sending him to an El Salvadoran prison camp due to what they described as a, quote, administrative error.
Court filings from the Trump administration revealed that they mistakenly deported a Maryland father to this horrific prison in El Salvador. Abrego Garcia is married to a United States citizen and has a 5-year-old disabled child who is a U.S. citizen. He has no criminal record in the United States. The Trump administration deported him where? To the very country from which he fled. Here's the story that was written about him in The Atlantic. The Trump administration acknowledged in a court filing Monday that it had grabbed a Maryland father with protected legal status and mistakenly deported him to El Salvador. But in Monday's court filing, attorneys for the government admitted that the Salvadorian man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was deported accidentally. Although ICE was aware of his protection, removal to El Salvador, Abrego Garcia was removed to El Salvador because of an administrative error, the government told the court. Trump lawyers said the court has no ability to bring him back now that Abrego Garcia is in Salvadorian custody.
And Senator Booker also included his Democratic Senate colleagues in this effort. At one point, Booker got emotional speaking about the sacrifices Americans have made for their country, including his colleague, Tammy Duckworth.
Thank you, Senator. Every time I see you, I have such reverence and gratitude that I get to serve alongside of you. I didn't serve in the military alongside of you like those courageous soldiers, like those people who carry you at risk to themselves, people who saved your life, the people that helped you in rehab, the people that empowered you to get back on your feet and run for one of the highest offices in the land, and then you serve here with distinction because you don't forget who helped you get here.
Just take care of my buddies.
Exactly. And my dad, who's in heaven, with a lot of the other good folks from American history, I don't know what he'd think of his son, but I know he'd be proud of you. All right, let's talk about the economy.
Folks, there you have it. History has been made. Let's all take this energy and hope that Senator Booker has given us and use it as fuel to continue this fight ahead. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe on YouTube and help us get to 5 million subscribers. Oh, also, add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.